Namaste. You are listening to Fail to Win, written by Dinesh Patel, Air Warrior, and narrated by Mitali Pirangute. Chapter 3, Power of Simplicity. Simplicity transforms ordinary into amazing. Your personality, habit, and thought process can alter and influence your luck. Your ambition is to succeed, but not all times your efforts will transform into success. Consider a salesperson. 100 calls he makes to sell his product, but at the end of the day, only 20 calls turn into a sale. So, what should he do? Should he sit and cry over those 80% non productive calls or seek motivation from the 20% productive ones? With each no and with each failure, our functional skill increases. We have an inherent tendency to go get it done once our spirit is high. During any crisis, look for your role model, an individual or a company, if you are in business, that will help and lead you out of the crisis successfully. Let me tell another story to make you believe in my propositions. One man was lost in the desert. He had been walking miles and miles with no sign of the end. Thirsty, exhausted, he was about to faint. All of a sudden, at half a furlong away, he found a well of water. He was a little energized and walked towards it with the hope to quench his thirst. When he went near, he found a barbed fence and a warning sign: "Do not trespass, mine's zone." The man lost all hope. It was like either he had to die without water, or if he went in, he would blow himself. What should he do now? He looked again. A little farther, he could see one man drinking water from the well. Our man was far to reach the other man. Even shouting wouldn't help him. What should he do now? He wondered if this man could reach the well, there must be a way safe out of the mine's laid. Our man started searching on the ground. He found the footsteps of the other man. He walked over the footmarks of the other man and could reach the well. Why am I narrating some fictional stories when my very own financial crisis can set a good example of overcoming the hurdles? My debt was a mere 1 crore rupees, while there was a superstar who was burdened by 100 crores of debt, Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. I had read an article in the newspaper. Mr. Bachchan was so depressed that he used to sleep with lights on to avoid nightmares. Even his family was not aware that the debt was so big to the tune of 100 crores. He never stopped going to the gym as he should not break down physically. Otherwise, things will go for a toss. He had no films in hand. None of his cars was there. His bungalow was not painted for 4 years. The garden had dried up. His last 4 films had flopped in a row. He was begging for work from those who once upon a time used to line up to sign him. Then one day, he managed to sign Yash Chopra's Mohabbatein. He got a call from Star TV for KBC. They wanted to visit him. Amitabh didn't want to lose this chance. He wanted to work somehow. Debtors were behind him. His bungalow was shabby. Not a single car was left, and people from Star TV were to visit him. He got that appointment after 1 week. He got his house urgently painted. He told his neighborhood's driver to park their cars in his compound for a few days. He even paid them to park their cars, for he never wanted to look poor. Invariably, he requested a unit of Mohabbatein film to conduct shooting in his bungalow so that he does not look out of job actor. And the rest is the history. His voice echoed on every television screen through KBC. He earned 1 crore per episode and started paying all his debtors. Amitabh Bachchan proactively cleared his debt. Although he was betrayed by his partners in his company ABCL, never did he enter into a blame game to delay the payments. As soon as he got his checks, he used to call up his lenders, including the banks, and used to clear the pending amount. What do we learn from this? Our attitude and behavior towards others is the most important part to develop a good image for the public. A man's humility at the pinnacle of his life and his attitude at the lowest phase design his public image. A question often grabs us: what happens to good people when bad things strike them? The answer is simple: good people become better people amidst the bad times. Mr. Bachchan is known for his well mannerism, humility, punctuality, and his ever zealous nature to learn new things. At my lowest, I sought his way of living. Anyway, a great fan of his work. He was now my role model to draw me out of my troubles. And believe me, my efforts did work wonders. I too started selling my properties, car, and everything else. I called up people and paid their dues. Some of my friends wanted to let go of the small amounts, but I never let that happen. I paid everyone back because I never wanted to give anyone a chance to say that I did not pay back. Bad rumors are like forest fires, it spreads faster. I completed all my service commitments to the corporate companies even when my company was running at loss for 2 years. All my staffs were paid properly and at their regular times. Let me tell you frankly, I was always happy to pay back and never did the regret of being penniless haunted my thoughts. I remained calm, never an iota of frustration, never ill mannered. As Shiv Khera says, position gives you power, power gives you authority, but it's your behavior that earns you the respect. The gist of the story is your character, ingrained habits, and attitude towards life are the essential keys to unlock your potential during a bad phase of life.
चिंता करना मतलब ईश्वर की रचाई हुई व्यवस्था पर शक करना होता है, और चिंतन करना मतलब ईश्वर की व्यवस्था पर भरोसा करना.
Now, it's upon us to decide which path to follow. Nowadays, companies like Google, Microsoft, etc. do not ask the interviewees about their success stories. They ask about the most difficult crisis of their life and how they handled it. Yes, your response to crisis defines you and not your piles of degrees and certificates. These days, bigger companies want innovative minds who can challenge the proposed ideas and existing ideologies. Nobody wants yes sir categories. The big companies are always looking out for talents whom they need not dictate what to do. Once, an IAS finalist was asked about the use of brakes in a car. He answered, for speed. Shocked? What did you expect the answer to be? To stop a car? Try driving a car and speed it up without the brakes. Can you ever do that? That's what is called an out-of-box thinking of the new generation. It is not just about keeping you motivated during your failure, but also develop a positive mindset and habits which can minimize the failure altogether and increase your probability of success. Bring yourself to a level where even if you fail, it will not be your fault but circumstantial flaws. It is always to equip yourself to that level of accuracy in your action, attitude, and practice that from your part, the failure becomes almost impossible. Nevertheless, such positive thoughts, habits, and actions should be practiced in such a way that they get ingrained in your muscle memory. Always remember, our thoughts channel our actions. Actions become habits. Habits build our character, and character determines our destiny. When we practice any action for 21 days, our body stops to resist and it becomes our habit. When we practice it for 6 months, it goes into our muscle memory, like cycling or swimming or dancing. We continue it for months and everything becomes automatic. Without conscious efforts or attention, we successfully do it even if our mind is thinking or listening to something else. I was always ready with a plan for my post Air Force days. I wanted to start my own business, and 2 years before my actual retirement, I started reading a lot of books about choosing business as a profession. Every book I read, I was taught the nitty gritty of marketing in the business world. One of the most powerful books about business is by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Every writer or trainer mentions this book even after 35 years. The book was really helpful in making my business strategies clear. Life in the armed forces, its habit and management were quite different than what was needed in business, but I was always comfortable accepting changes and challenges. I had learned from the various training in the Air Force, from the old hunter fighters of the 71 war to the latest supersonic fighters like MiG 21. Much like machines, human beings can always upgrade themselves by constant training. My initial plan was to do the job of marketing for the experience. I applied to every vacancy. However, with no degree in hand or experience in the marketing world, I could never get a call for an interview. 6 months, I sat jobless and my cash reserve was running out gradually. Later, in one such job application for a software company, I mentioned the lack of degree or experience and requested them not to reject me without interviewing. When in dearth of everything they asked for, I chose to highlight my flair for marketing. Somehow, this strategy kicked the correct nerve. Even experienced candidates hardly dare writing like this. I wrote because I had nothing to lose. But as I expected, my declaration surprised the owner of the company and I was called for the interview. The very first question they asked was, "Have you seen the computer?" I said, "No." They were offended and mocked my challenging statement in the application. "You asked us not to make any decision until you are interviewed, and now you have not even seen a computer. Don't you think knowledge of computers will be needed to sell?" I nodded a wide no. The staff turned angry and asked, "Why?" I smiled and said, "Vasco da Gama didn't know how to swim. He was going on a voyage to discover India. Shouldn't he be afraid or should he stop his historical mission of discovering India?" Instead, he hired swimmers, astronomers, map readers, and captains of the ship and set on to discover India and created the history. None of the swimmers or astronomers became Vasco da Gama. Similarly, I'm not here for the job, but the challenge. I am not here to become a computer operator. I got the job. In the first month, I made 150 calls, but only one sale happened. Was it a failure? Yes, it was. However, those 150 calls created 150 equations from the customers, and by the end of the month, I had to figure out 150 questions about computers. I was sent for a week's training in Wipro Computers in Bombay. That was the best training in sales I had ever undergone. And what did I learn? For a salesperson, his territory is like a child. One must nourish and develop it. Always remember, the first customer you make a sale, you have to service it for 20 years. The second lesson, never make any commitment which you can't fulfill. Thirdly, never believe in selling fridge to Eskimos. You can sell only once, but true selling is selling the same customers for 20 years. And lastly, honesty is still the best policy. When the trainees questioned about the high prices of Wipro, the trainer answered, "The price is a perception." And in the world of marketing, high prices create an illusion of being better. For example, you and your friend are new to a town. Suddenly, your friend gets a heart attack and you find out about two doctors. One charges 1000 rupees and the other one charges 500. You know none of them, but always presume the 1,000 rupees one will be a better option. Why? High pricing always creates an illusion of good quality. After that training, I practiced those sales fundamentals in real. I sold high end products while keeping in mind the 20 years of selling concept. That year, I sold the highest number of computers in Vadodara. Some of those customers are still working with me even after 34 years. If your vision is for 3 months, plant flowers. If your vision is for 10 years, plant trees. And if your vision is eternal, plant people. Investment in people or relationship is like compounding interest. The more you take care and reach people's heart, the more are the chances of success. More the failures, the more profound will be your success. You will be able to build your brand and you will grow wiser.
जिंदगी में जिसका सफर मुश्किलों से भरा होता नहीं, जिंदगी क्या है उसका पता उसे होता नहीं.
Atal Bihari Vajpayee was a more successful PM than Rajiv Gandhi, only for the struggles he had to overcome. We must remember that if our heart is still beating, God is not yet done with us. We still have something to give to society. Keep giving. The most important thing to acknowledge is the people power. The more I interacted with people honestly, the more my marketing efficiency increased. I could reach my target market quicker than ever. Being honest in the job remained the key. Over the years, I honed my behavioral skills, which greatly influenced my marketing tactics. Zig Ziglar always said, if you want to increase your income by a mere 10 times, you must invest 20% of your profit in self development. I followed the quote. I kept meeting people, talking to them about my products, even if nothing was sold. I developed a new perspective by interacting with people. As Swami Vivekananda once said, meeting people is an education in itself. Within a year, when I got the highest number of sales, I was tagged as the super salesman. Soon I got a dealership and could launch my own company. One must recognize the fact that salesman skill and success always go together. Everyone is a salesman, be it Narendra Modi or Vajpayee or even Donald Trump. Everyone is trying to sell their goodwill to the people. Selling or marketing is the best profession to choose if one is interested in self development. Selling makes one a stronger person where a no is taken as a new opportunity. I define selling as a transfer of enthusiasm. No one buys anything from any unenthusiastic salesman. You must learn to remain always enthusiastic. That is good for your own life and health as well. You travel, you meet beautiful and successful people and learn good manners and new skills, which in turn develops your personality. After 10 failures, when you get one sale, you get tremendous satisfaction and a great sense of achievement. Every day, you must move with a sense of mission. The life of salespeople is challenging and adventurous as well. You win like a warrior when you convince people. It feels even better when you convince some CEO of the company who are highly successful. You learn and develop the ultimate attitude of success. In sales, you are always amongst the most successful people with leadership and passion. Selling taught me the best things in life. I understood that people can only make you successful. Satisfied customers' references makes your job easy and multiply your sales. I also realized that what I learned was very useful in all walks of life to be a well accepted personality and be successful in any field. And here resides the basic traits of anyone's personality to minimize the failures and be successful in life. It drastically improves the probability of success, as with these traits, you play your part the best. If you can give people a kingly feeling, they will offer you kingdom and kingship.